So how do you prepare for a great 2025? And this is a phenomenal question for any real estate agent. It always starts with the vision of what you actually want to go and achieve. And if you go and have a look in some reflection on what actually happened in 2024, what are some of the things that you could do better to set yourself up for a great year this year? We know that 2025 will have its challenges. There's naturally going to be some turbulence around what's going to be happening around interest rates, but also to the federal election and any potential policy changes that may or may not get up. What is important is that we can't change those things, but we can make sure that we change the way that we go to play the game. And this is really about setting the strategy correct around what you want to go and achieve. The first place always starts in prospecting, and this year we're going to see a lot of properties that are withdrawn and expired listings that may not have sold last year or into the first couple of weeks of this year, and they're looking for another agent that can take over that particular listing. This is a really important conversation around what you're doing to position that property correctly to maximize the buyer audience, getting the right buyers to the properties to make sure you can get some great offers for those owners to go to consider. The second consideration is to then think about what you're doing from a lead generation perspective. Now, a lot of us concentrate on open for inspections and running great campaigns, but now's actually that decision to make about where you want to be seen. So when you're thinking about you and your properties and your brand, where are you going to be positioning to make sure that you're at the top of all the search results? And actually the extensions of where you're going to be seen in other platforms to make sure that you can get all of your properties in front of the right buyers at the right time. Now, why that's such an important conversation is that this is not just about doing what you did last year. This is about reimagining what are all the tools that are actually available to make sure you're putting your properties in front of that maximum buyer audience. This is a conversation around the importance of video, the quality of photography, the type of things that you're doing with pest and building reports, but also to the placement of those particular assets to make sure that your properties are there at exactly that right time to really be making sure the consumer's getting maximum effort. The next conversation is then to consider what you're going to do to make sure that you can make your campaigns as effective as possible. Now, if you've been like most real estate agents, a lot of us will launch a property online and then naturally they will move forward to the day that actually goes to sell. But now we need to get much more strategic around what we're doing throughout the course of the campaign. That ability to be able to have a conversation around how you can actually get that extra email going out at the right time when you've made a change in relation to price, being able to change the location of where it sits inside of the search results, and the conversation around what you can do to make sure that you're getting the property into the right markets at the right time. And the most important conversation is to make sure that you're getting those properties sold in a shorter period of time. What is also going to be important is that as we go through the different market circumstances, you might find that you need to have more properties on market to sell the same number of listings that you actually sold last year. So this is going to be a careful consideration around what you're doing with each of those individual owners to make sure that they feel that they're getting the love, so to speak, throughout the course of the campaign, but that you're positioning them correctly to make sure that they actually get to sold. Unfortunately, this may be the year where being the second agent might actually be the choice, where you might have to make that decision to forego a particular listing because it doesn't meet your minimum listing standards. So how do you position for some of the challenges that we expect throughout the 2025 year? The first one, without a doubt, is that there's going to be a number of conversations about what's actually happening in relation to pricing. And it's really important that you're clear about the stats about what's actually happening inside of your core market. And it's a really important conversation that you're aware about the total number of listings that are going to market, the total number of properties that are selling at day 28 or less, but also too what's actually happening to the buyer inquiry in your particular area. In order to be able to go and tell a better quality story, it's important to think about what's actually happening to the borrowing capacity of buyers. And actually what we're seeing is up to a 47% reduction in how much money borrowers can borrow in over the course of the last 18 to 24 months. Now this is significant because it just means that there's not as many people that are in a position to be able to spend at the higher levels. And naturally, if you chop the budget of a buyer in half, they're going to be looking for alternate areas where price and value actually meet. That's a really important conversation to be having with your owners because what we do know is that those owners who normally move on price first are the ones that actually sell. And one of the new measurements that you might look at inside of your organisation might be the number of the days that it takes to sell a property after it's actually had a price change. We know that there are a lot of agents who will try to make sure that they look more attractive to sellers, but maybe taking some shortcuts when it comes to the marketing. But this is not the market to be doing that if there's going to be less buyers available in the buyer pool. This is actually about maximising your buyer audience to make sure that you've got as many buyers turning up at your properties. You want to be thinking about where you're having your property placed. keeping it at the top of the search results and making sure that it's got all of the additional social elements to maximize the size of that audience for your marketing campaign. It is a really important conversation to use case studies around what you've done in the past and how you've seen them to be incredibly successful in getting the right buyers to the property. In order to be able to maximize your value as an agent, you want to show all the things that you actually do. One of the key things is that a lot of the things that we've done have become invisible and we start to get shopped as a commodity. The secret to actually changing that is about having a list of all the things that you do before, during, and post a residential real estate transaction to significantly change your value for the seller. If you had that on one A4 page and you showed the seller that, you would literally blitz the competition because you're very detailed and clear about the differences of what it is that you actually bring to market. What we do know is it's important that there's going to be a ton of challenges. They're just a set of waves and we've got to learn to surf. And we can't wait to help you with all the additional products and services that we provide to assist you in making sure that your properties are positioned in the very best locations to maximize the sales results and to keep those days on market short.